titled The Chicken Run. Please welcome Bruce Gardner.
Chasing a chicken is one of the hardest things you can do. Catching one is something entirely different. 2 days ago was Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras, a celebration that goes back centuries in many cultures. Today I'll tell you the story of the real Mardi Gras and the story of the chicken run. Now, in order to tell you the story, we need to go to a small town in Louisiana. Mamou, Louisiana. No, you've never heard of it. And no, you've never been there. But I have. Let me tell you about Mamou. Mamou is a small agricultural farming town out in the country. It's north and west New Orleans, probably 80 miles away. Mamou has a main street. It's 1 block long. There are shops and businesses on each side. And once you get beyond that 1 block, you're out of town. There are some small residential properties that kind of surround the main street. And then beyond that are the farms and ranches of the area that Mamou is in. And they raise all kinds of animals. And they grow rice, and they grow crawfish. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that they grow the rice and the crawfish together. The rice are grown in ponds, crawfish live in the ponds, and both products come out of the same place. Every year in Mamou, they celebrate Mardi Gras. But this is not the celebration of beads and boobs. This is totally different. Every year they do the chicken run. Chicken run. In the morning, the men gather in town, in costumes, all kinds of costumes. And of course the costumes are the regular colors. They're green and gold and purple. I'm sure you've seen them. The beads are the same colors. What you may not know is why those colors were chosen. It's the common people making fun of royalty by wearing their colors on that one day. Back in history, those are not the colors of the common man. They were the colors of royalty. And on that day, they made fun of their leaders. The men gather in town in costume at daybreak, and they get on horses, and they ride out of town. Now behind this parade of men in costume is a pickup truck, and in the back of the pickup truck is beer. Lots of it. Behind the pickup truck is another pickup truck towing a wagon. And on the wagon is a band, a live band, that plays all day long while the men are outside of town. So the men leave town in the morning and they are in search of chickens. Live chickens. The people that live there, they participate in this. Many of them climb on the roofs of their houses, and when the parade shows up in their front yard, they throw a chicken off the roof. And the men jump off horseback, and they chase the chicken, and they tumble over each other, and they fall in the mud, and somebody finally comes out of the scrum with a chicken. And then it's on to the next house. And this goes on all day. During this time, the townspeople are still in town. And they're waiting. So at the end of town, they've set up a bandstand. There's a band playing. People are dancing in town on that street, right at the end of the main street, having fun. What's also legal in Louisiana is what's known as a go cup. You can walk into a bar, order a drink, they'll put it in a go cup, styrofoam cup, lid, straw sticking out. The straw still has a little piece of the paper end on top of the straw, which means it's a sealed container. And it's legal to walk outside with it. Totally legal. Absolutely legal. It's an amazing place. So people are drinking in town and they're dancing in the band, having fun, celebrating Mardi Gras. And then at the end of the day, the men come back. Now by this time, they are drunk and dirty, in costume, proudly carrying their chickens, live chickens. And this parade comes into town from one end straight to the bandstand. And the sea of people that are there parts, and all the costumed men come right to the bandstand. And of course, the men are showing off for the women in town, so some of them are standing on the horses. Some are doing handstands. Some are doing backflips off the horses, in costume, with chickens. You cannot imagine what this looks like. When I was there, as the parade started to come into town, I scaled the bandstand and stood on top of the speaker tower with my camera and just took as many pictures as I could. You couldn't take a bad shot. It was not possible. So they come into town and they celebrate, and all the townspeople join them, and they have a huge celebration, and they dance and they dance and they celebrate and they drink some more, and when it's finally time for everyone to go home, they take their chickens and they go back to their houses and they make gumbo. That's what they wanted the chickens for. What a celebration. We miss that in America today. We don't do things like this anymore. They still do it in that little town in Louisiana. And I have to tell you, when it was all said and done, I was glad to be there and see the chicken run.